like burnished bronze. You judge without fear or weakness. You steady my heart until I am ready. With eyes like fire. With eyes like fire you see. Fire dividing me from flesh and spirit. You reveal everything. With feet like burnished bronze, you judge without fear or weakness. You steady my heart until I am ready. And I learn to speak when you speak, to move when you move, to hate what you hate and love what you love. Sing that again. And I learn to speak when you speak, to move when you move, to hate what you hate and love what you love. With eyes like fire. With eyes like fire you see. Fire dividing me from flesh and spirit. You reveal everything. Yes, you do. Feet like burnished bronze, you judge without fear or weakness. You steady my heart until I am ready. I'm ready. And I learn to speak when you speak, to move when you move, to hate what you hate and love what you love. I learn, and I learn to speak when you speak, to move when you move, to hate what you hate and love what you love. And suddenly, like a thunder, my heart erupts with wonder. I set fire to all that I've known, but what's of you will not be burned. Suddenly, like a thunder, eyes I see, from your perspective of me. You tear down the walls of this place in my heart I've kept safe, from the fear that I can't ever change. And you strip the walls of this place in my heart decorated to look like the sound of the name that I've called myself. You tear down the walls. You tear down the walls of this place in my heart I've kept safe, from the fear that I can't ever change. Come and have your way. You strip the walls of this place in my heart decorated to look like the sound of the name that I've called myself. You call me by a new name, a name that you chose just for me. Crown me with glory and honor and power. I turn it around at your feet. You call me by a new name, hallelujah, a name that you chose just for me. You crown me with glory and honor and power. Holy, holy, holy. Oh, we sing. Holy, holy, holy. We cry. Holy, holy, holy. I will dwell in your house forever and live with you all of my days. I won't run and hide, I won't turn away. I will seek your face. I will dwell in your house forever and live with you all of my days. I won't run and hide, I won't turn away. I will seek your face. I have come to Mount Zion, where there's no need to fear. I will dance and sing at the joy that it brings to live with you here. I will dwell in your house forever and live with you all of my days. I won't run and hide, I won't turn away. I will seek your face. Sing that again. I will dwell in your house forever and live with you all of my days. I won't run and hide, I won't turn away. I will seek your face. I have come, and I have come to Mount Zion, where there's no need to fear. I will dance and sing at the joy that it brings to live with you here. 'Cause I will dwell in your house forever about the joy that it brings to live with you here.
So, for the past, I don't know how many weeks now, we've been talking about the 7 churches and me. The series is titled 7 Churches and Me, out of the book of Revelation, where John is prophesying and he's speaking to all 7 churches, Church of Ephesus, Sardis, Philadelphia, all on and on and on. Today, we'll be talking about the Church of Philadelphia, which is interesting. But I want to go back again to the one that is interesting to me, was the most interesting, because I asked, as we began this journey, I asked everyone to consider as we move along, which church do you most identify with? For me, personally, I identified most with the church of Ephesus, which was Revelation 1, the very first church that John prophesied to, because he said to that church, he said, you have a lot of truth, but very little grace. And he goes on and he says, if you can balance and reconcile truth with grace, then I'll be pleased. He said, I love that you love the truth. What I hold against you is that you don't understand love. Truth is good, but truth without grace is empty, in the same way that too much grace without any truth is empty. Neither of those on their own have enough life in them to support the moment. But if you can combine truth, if you can join and balance the truth that he speaks to us and leads us into with the grace that looks like him that he imparts to us, if we can combine those together, that's what will produce the fruit that he is looking for. And so I identified mostly with that. And then last week at the anniversary, I came in, or actually it was at the Fall Festival last Saturday, I came in, and one of the young men in the house, Christian Thabok, came up to me and he said to me, he said, so Steve, he said, what would you, if John were writing about you, where's Christian? Is he in here right now? Christian's right here. He said, if John were prophesying about you in the book of Revelation, or about this church, not about me particularly, but he said, if John were prophesying about the Rock of Central Florida in the book of Revelation, what would he be saying? And I said, that. I said, I don't know. What he made me do was consider. Because I thought I would know the answer. If someone would have said before the unexpected moment, that, like we were talking about a moment ago, what would he say? I would say, oh, he would say this and this and this. But when I was asked and it was unexpected, I had to parse my lips a bit. I had to squint my eye, and I never gave him an answer. Except for, I don't know. So I spent some time, Christian, this week asking, what would you say about the Rock of Central Florida? And there were several things that came to me, and one of them, not trying to be repetitive, but one of them was the use of the dogs. One thing I love about you, the Rock of Central Florida, is that when you know what to do, you're not afraid to do it.
That's right.
So if we go through all 7 churches and we look at them, he says, I like this about you, but I don't like this about you. I'm happy with this, but I'm not happy with that. He does that with all 7 churches because, and he never does that to punish. He does that to lead. We need to understand that when God speaks to us and it feels like a slap in the face, it's never a slap in the face. It's a nudge in the right direction. He's never slapped anybody. He's nudged a lot of people, all of us. Amen? Anybody ever feel a little nudge every now and then? And he uses people and things and moments and times and places, and he uses victories and tragedies and successes and failures to do the nudging that is required. So as I began to think about it, I began to think about the gear, and I thought, what would you be happy with if you were talking about us? And I believe that he would be happy that we embrace what's unknown. We're not afraid to take a risk. Never been afraid to take a risk. I never preach a service to keep visitors. I've never preached to a visitor in my entire life. What I mean by that is preaching in such a way that they won't be offended. I don't really care. It's not important to me that they're not offended. It's important to me that people are changed. And if this isn't the place where they feel like change can come to them, then they need to find the place where that is. I've preached the same way for 19 years, and here you are. And so I thought, we're not afraid to take risks. We're not afraid to speak the truth. But then as we had staff meeting this week, and I again continued to ponder these things, I began to realize some of the things that came up that I think he would say, while you're not afraid to take risks, you're not loud enough. And then I think to myself, and I wrote some things down in my notes pertaining to this for today, but because I couldn't get on the internet, I couldn't access it. But he said, you're not loud enough. And I thought, man, I feel like we're loud. And when we had staff meeting Thursday, I said to the staff, one of the things that bothers me, it bothers me still to this day when a visitor comes to this church and they say, we didn't even know you were here. That happened last week. Been here we're celebrating 19 years, and somebody said, we didn't even know you were here. We live right down the road. I'm like, what? I was offended, not by them, but by me. I offended me. And I offended God. And I said, when we were meeting in the staff meeting, I said, we need to do something. I told you, somebody, don't be offended by, please don't be, it is what it is. I've said numerous times, I want to have a t-shirt. I want to get a t-shirt that's a black t-shirt that has on the front of it the words, hell no. And then when people look, I know some people said, I will never wear that t-shirt. That's okay, I will. How many would? I want them. Let's make it happen. And then when you turn around, it's going to say, join me at the Rock Sunday. How many would wear that? Now, that's getting loud. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to be the wrong kind of loud. So when I begin to question the things that the Father was saying to me, and I want to get to, this is all part of the Church of Philadelphia, so this will make sense to you in a moment. I begin to realize that I don't want to be the wrong kind of loud either. I don't want to just be making noise. I want to make the right kind of noise. I don't want to be the donkey that has to speak to the prophet. I want to be the donkey that Christ can ride on the back of. I don't just want to be an ass. I want to be the right ass. Now you're awake, aren't you? Liz said, I'm wide awake. Now, some might think, some might not know what to say to that, including my wife. Honey, get out from underneath that chair. It's a bad look. But I'm not the guy, and I've never been the guy that is going to look like every other guy that stood in a pulpit where you've been. And neither do I want the kind of church that's going to look like every other church you've ever been to. There's a reason you're not at that church today. There's also might be a reason now you might be back there next week. That's up to you. I'm not fighting for you. I'm going to preach the word. You fight for the truth. I'm going to make a way. I'm going to make opportunity. I know this church would be a lot bigger if I didn't say things like that. But then I'm faking it. I am who I am. And I am what He made me. And when He called me, He didn't say, you know what, I got a lot of stuff I got to clean up on you before I can use. He called me and He said, go do it, man. If there ever was a guy that was more like John the Baptist that ate locusts and wild honey and wore a coat out of camel skin, that would be me. I'm the guy. Because I like the wild thing. I like the wild side. I like the different. Why am I saying all that? Because He said, who are you? Thank you, Christian. This is all Christians' fault. Because He made me consider all this week that question. Every time I sat down and began to read over the Church of Philadelphia and begin to think about that, all I could think about was the question that He asked. What am I going to do with this question? Who am I? Who are we? What do we represent? What would He say about you? What would He say about me? What would He say? Let's put you and me aside. Let's say, what would He say about us? What is it that He would say about us? Let's read about Church of Philadelphia real quick, and let's move into this thing. Revelation chapter 3, verse 7 reads like this. I'm reading out of the English Standard Version this morning. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia write this, the words of the Holy One, the true one, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut, who shuts and no one will open. Wow, man! The words of the Holy One, the true one, who has the key of David, who opens and no one will shut. He shuts and no one opens. Listen, that is, when He opened up gateways in my mind and spirit to what the rock was going to look like, once He opened it up, no one can shut that. So I'm gazing into places I've never thought I'd look into. Gaze with me. Gaze with me. Get up next to that window, look in. I know your works. Behold, Philadelphia, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but just a little bit of power. And yet, in the middle of that, you've kept my word. You've not denied my name. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but they lie. Those who say they're like me, yet they're not, they lie. Those who call themselves mine, yet they're not, they lie. Behold, I'm going to make them come down and they're going to bow down before your feet. What do you do? Can I just ask you a question about this? Let's just take a little journey here, may we? We're going to. What do you do? Let's see, how can I word this? It's not that I won't just say it. I want to say it, though, so that what is heard doesn't dilute what is in it. So what do you do if, let me just read this part again and then I'll say it. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and yet they're not, but they lie. Those who say they're of me, yet they're not, they lie. Those who say they walk with me, yet they don't, they lie. Behold, I'm going to make them come and they're going to bow down before your feet and they will learn that I have loved you. What are you going to do when people come to you and they bow down at your feet? Because you've honored the God rising up and lying down, and they come and they bow down before you. They might not do it physically, but they do it verbally. They do it in some way. They come and they bow down before you, and they begin to say, oh my gosh. It's unbelievable. What are you going to do? Are you going to mamby-pamby that? Are we going to do what Christian people do, what Christian weak sissies do? Are we going to do that thing and we're going to say, we're going to be like normal Christians and we're going to say, oh, no, there's no honor in me. There's no glory in here. There's nothing here. No, no, no. Get up. Rise up. There's no glory here. Are we going to do that, or are we going to say you're darn tootin'? Too many Westerns. You're right. I'm honoring the Lord, and I hope that when you look upon me, I hope when you look at me and you see how I honor God and you see the favor that's in my life, and we'll get to that in a moment, but you see the favor that's in my life, I hope that when you look at that, it makes you want something more. I hope it makes you want to dig deep. I hope it makes you want to get in there. You don't bow. You don't have to bow down to me, but while you're bowing, let me just tell you why you're bowing and I'm not. Do you hear me today? This is the Church of Philadelphia. He said, this is what I want you to know. I'm pleased with you. I'm pleased with your position. I'm pleased that you know who you are. I like that you've accepted who you are. I like that you don't mamby-pamby. I like that you're not sissies. I like that you are strong. I like that you have courage. I like that you are bold. I like that you don't mind speaking. I like that you might be small, yet you are big in faith. I love this about you. What are you going to do with that? What would most people do with that? What would most Christians do with that? Most Christians, when people would do that and they would come and they would say, you put it aside. My wife, I said this before, my wife had a conversation with somebody recently, and in that conversation she was having with them, I don't remember if it was on the phone or I don't remember how it went, but anyway, she was having a conversation with them, and she said, they were asking about the rock. And she said, we just want to be the glory of God in the earth. We just want to demonstrate God in the earth. We want to be His glory in the earth. And they said to my wife, they said, you can't do that. Only Jesus can do that. And I thought, and there is the condition of the church. What do you mean? You can't be the glory of God in the earth. Then why does He indwell us? The Church of Philadelphia became the glory of the Lord in the earth. He was pleased. He liked what he saw because they became His glory. Because they became His glory, He said, I'm going to now favor you. But somebody say, for that same thing, that's the church. That was a pastor actually that said that to my wife. You don't know them, but we know them. You can't do that. Only Jesus can be the glory of God in the earth. No. We can too. He has empowered us. Hear what I'm telling you this morning. He's empowered you. You have the anointing and the ability, the word in you to become more than what you could be without Christ. So when you have Christ, let's demonstrate like we have Christ. I can't be the glory of God because only Jesus can do that. I thought Jesus was in you. Well, yeah, but He's hidden. We keep Him secret. He's in like a secret place. We're going to keep Him hidden in the back because, after all, we don't want to be the glory of God in the earth because people might say, oh, look at those people. They're so proud and they're pompous and they're this and pride comes before a fall and blah. It's not about pride. It's about knowing who I am. See, pride is saying, I've got it and you can't have it. Pride is saying, I've got this thing and you can't have it. Don't you wish you could have what I've got? Too bad you can't. That's pride. Demonstration is saying, I've got it, and you can too. Let me tell you how. Let's take a walk. Everything that I'm walking in, I'm willing to share with you. What do you want to know? Let's go on a journey together. Let's talk about this thing. Let's dance together. Let's sing together. You want to write? You want to preach? You want to prophesy? You want to lay hands on? You want to study? What do you want to do? See, pride and arrogance, I've got it, you can't have it. But demonstration, I've got it, you can too. I don't have anything you can't have.
That's right.
The difference is some people will lay hold of it and some people will look at it. Some people say, there's the opportunity, and then they'll study it and they'll walk around it. Wow, that looks amazing. That is so cool. Look at the shine. You see the glisten right there? That is really cool. That's just so much opportunity. Dog, I wish I could have that. I wish that could be me. Some people they just walk around that thing all day long. They study it. They dig into it. I wonder what if, how, could it be? And they'll stare at that thing, and then other people go just like this. They walk up and they come into this opportunity and they see it and they go, and there's just and they become symbiotic. They dwell together. They become one. with that purpose, and they just enter right into it. It becomes a part of who they are, and they are a part of what it is. And what it is the glory of God in the earth. Amen. So he says, Church of Philadelphia, he says, behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are the Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and they will learn that I have loved you, because you have kept my word about patient endurance. I will keep you from the hour of trial that is coming on everyone else in the world, to try those who dwell on the earth. But because you've been faithful, I've got your back. I'm coming soon. Hold fast what you have, so that no one may seize your crown. The one who conquers, the one who overcomes, the one who prevails, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall he go out of it, and I will write on him the name of my God. I'm going to tell you, when God tattoos you, you've been tattooed. I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So let me ask some questions this morning. What does God say about you? So he's pretty pleased with the Church of Philadelphia. He's looking at Philadelphia and he's saying, man, you've done some amazing things. You're a little dude, but man, you got little power. But you get big results. You don't stare at the ground, you put seed in it. You don't stare at the wall, you climb over it. You don't worry yourself with the rain, you collect it. So what does he say about you? As I begin this week to take that journey where I begin to answer the question that Christian asked, begin to answer the question about this house and this ministry, and he began to open my eyes and let me know you're not loud enough. And if I could title this something else other than the Church of Philadelphia, it would have been that. You're not loud enough. But I don't want to be any loud. I want to be the right loud. I don't want to sound like every other voice that they've heard, because then you get lost in the cluster. Our voice needs to resonate, a singular, purposeful sound. I don't mind being in unity with those who are of like spirit, but I don't want to be in unity with those who sound like us, but they aren't us. You need to hear what I'm saying this morning. I don't want to be in line with those people who look like God, they act like God, but they have no God. I don't want to be in line with that. I don't want to be in line with people who can preach a good message about passion, but you never see it in them. You could cut them open 6 different ways and never find an ounce of it. Is this strong? So what does God say about you? What's Yahweh saying about you? What does he say about you? When he looks at you, what do you hear? What are you hearing him say? What keys can you receive from what he said about the church of Philadelphia? And what made them so special? First of all, he said, I know your works. And Proverbs 15:3 says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place. One of the first verses I ever memorized when I got into ministry. Proverbs 15:3. Many of the verses I memorized I don't know anymore. I don't remember them anymore because I don't memorize anymore. But he said, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. And everything that I ever memorized is in the King James Version. So, behold, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding both the evil and the good, both the righteous and the unrighteous. Behold, there are no secrets from him. So what is he saying about you? You can't expect him to say something incredible about you when you walk out of the building, you're not doing incredible things for him. You have to live incredibly to have incredible things said about you. You can't have this life and that life, and then another life, and then another life. You have to have life. You have to say, this is who I am, with people, without people, with him at all times. He says, I know your works. He said, sons and daughters, he said, I want to tell you something. I want to be able to say to you, these are the keys that we can take away. He says, I want to be able to say to you, about you, the same things that I'm saying about the Church of Philadelphia. I want to be able to do that, but I'm going to tell you, I know your works. I'm very well aware. My eyes are in every place, and I'm beholding the evil and the good. This isn't some condemnation word I'm preaching today. This is an eye-opening word that I'm preaching today. This is a word that's going to make us it's going to make us consider. Some will have to reconsider. Make us open our eyes and find out, who am I? What would he say about me? When I walk out of here, what would he say about me at 3 o'clock this afternoon? It's not about what he'll say about you right now, because everybody's sweet and smiling, got a nice look on, you dress nice, you look nice, you're feeling good, you worship and did everything. What are you going to do at 5 o'clock today? 11 o'clock tonight? While no one else might know about what's going on and what your thoughts are and where your place is, he does. No one else might know what's the truth and what's a lie in your life, but he does. He said, I set before you an open door, an opportunity. So he says, let me ask you to do this. Ask yourself, first of all, what would I say about you? He said, I'm giving you an opportunity right now. I set before you an open door. I want you, if there's something there, he said, I'm giving you opportunity to repent. He said, I know you're wrapped in human flesh, and that by its nature is weak. I know that you are small, and yet you are big. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10 says, but he, Jesus, said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me for the sake of Christ. Then I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, it is at that moment that I am actually made strong. Because he is able to, believe this, he is well aware of the human nature that each and every one of us have. He is well aware of our human nature. He is well aware of our Adamic nature. He is well aware that we were born out of the seed of Adam, that we came from that place, that there's a generational passage that has taken place over time. He's also well aware that there was a second Adam. Everybody say second. Second Adam. He's aware of the second Adam because he sent the second Adam after he sent the first Adam. The difference is the second Adam did not fail like the first Adam did. So the second Adam has redeemed us from the curse of the first Adam so that we could be in the middle of what we perceive as weakness very strong. He said, you've kept my word no matter what. Ask that about yourself. He said, you've kept my word. These are keys. These are takeaways. He said, you've kept my word no matter what. In the middle of everything, you keep my word. He said, you don't deny my name, Philadelphia. You've not denied my name. And he said, and those who call themselves mine, there are those who call themselves mine. Guess what? They're going to kneel before those who are actually mine. It's one thing to call yourself his. It's another thing to be his. You know, a lot of times we've all met people that a lot of times they talk so much about themselves, it's because they don't believe it. They want you to believe what they don't believe. We all know people like that, do we not? We all know, or we've met people like that in the past where they continually, they're this and they build themselves up, they'll build themselves up and they'll build themselves up. Sometimes they'll build themselves up so that they can make other people seem smaller, or they'll build themselves up because they don't believe about themselves what they're saying, so they're trying to convince everybody else. If I can make everybody else believe it, maybe I will too. You hear what I'm saying this morning? He said, those who call themselves mine will kneel before those who actually are. Those who are continually trying to build themselves up, there's no power in them, but they try to look like there's power there. He said they're going to kneel before the ones who actually have power, not because they have to tell everybody they've got it, but because everybody sees that they've got it. If you have it, you won't have to tell anybody that you have it. If you're a son, you don't have to tell anybody you're a son. If you're a daughter, you don't have to tell anybody you're a daughter. It's just going to happen. It's going to be known. It's going to be evident in the choices that you make. Wow, that was a very different decision. That was like a sonship decision. Yeah, true. Thank you. I just didn't expect that. Well, I know, but thank you. Thank you. With grace. You've kept my word regardless. You've not denied my name. Your patient faithfulness will guide you through whatever trial, whatever challenge. These are keys. Yes. He says, stay the course. Overcome and you will be rewarded. Prevail and you will be rewarded. Hebrews 11:6, without faith it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. You don't have to feel strong to be faithful and steadfast because he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Let me say this about the Church of Philadelphia today. It's the only church in all 7 churches where he goes through and he doesn't say, I love this about you, but I hold this against you. Right in the middle of all the other churches, he calls out a particular church that there's no apparent fault with. He says, here you look like this church of little power, little stature, little place. And there's not a lot of you. But holy moly, what you do with what you've been given makes you bigger than the rest. And the rest will find themselves bowing before you, not because you're their king, not because you're their authority, but seeking. When he talks about bowing here, he's talking about seeking, searching. How did you come to this place? It's not a bowing in the sense of, oh, I worship you. It's a bowing in the sense of, I recognize that there's something in you that I've been missing. When he begins to speak to the church of Philadelphia and he begins to address them, he begins to prophesy over them, he says to them, now what I want you to do is I want you to stay the course. He said, because tribulation's coming, it's not going to touch you as a house, but it might touch you individually. He said, what I want you to do is I want you to stay your course. I want you to remember who you are. Remember what I called you to. You hear me this morning? So when Christian asked me this question, I'm going to circle back around to this. When Christian asked me that question and he said, what would John say? What would Holy Spirit say to John about the Rock of Central Florida? And I said, I don't know. I thought about it for about 30 seconds and I said, I don't know. I know what I would hope he would say. But then as I begin to ponder that this week, and I'm going to ask you to ponder, to consider. And he said, you know what? I love that you go after it. I love that. Look around this room. You people are amazing. How is it possible you can have this many people gathered together that all really want to go after the more and want to literally step out of the easy and into this thing's going to cost me something? How many people could you say in a crowd, how many want to forget the easy, cancel the easy class and take the hard class? In this house, almost every hand would go up. Yeah, give me that one. Give me the one that's going to be more difficult. Because the reward is so much greater. Because first of all, if he offers you the difficult class, the difficult way, the difficult path, he didn't offer it because he's setting you up for failure. He's offering it because he knows you can do it. He just needs you to know what he knows. He said, so I love that about the rock. I love that you will engage and I love that you'll go past easy. But you're not loud enough. We've been loud. We've had loud moments. But we're not loud enough. And I don't want another person to come in this building and say, I didn't even know you were here. Liz, in staff meeting, Darnell, shared with me a story of a church she'd never even been to. But she could tell, she spit out the name of that place like it was nobody's business. I can't even remember it now, but she spit it out because she saw it everywhere where she was at. No matter where she went, she heard about it. She saw it because there was something going. I'm going to tell you, Father says you're not loud enough. People spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on advertisement in churches with tithe money that could be doing so many incredible things. When the truth is, the best advertisement is a t-shirt that says, hell no. Or a conversation at the coffee shop that says, where are you going to be Sunday? Or in the checkout line at Walmart that says, have you ever considered, Matt, was it, where'd you guys go? Chili's. with his Consider shirt on last week. His family wasn't just Matt. He wasn't by himself. They all had Consider on. This shirt. And somebody said, what does that mean? That's getting loud. And then they were all like, let me consider that. What does consider mean? Let me consider that. Yeah, let me show you. So when I came to this church, Philadelphia originally, and I had some things that I wanted to say about it, I thought, you know what, this is a tough one to actually preach about, Yahweh, because you're so pleased with it. What do you do with that? And he showed me. And he sent Christian to be a voice of Christian, a teenage young man. To what? Great young man. Very deep thinker. I mean, like, deep. Never afraid to ask questions. And it provoked me. So I provoke you today. So when we think about the Church of Philadelphia today, let me wrap it up with this. Let me wrap it up by saying this. How loud are you? Because it isn't about Steve Parker being loud. I can be loud. I can say things. I can do things. But how loud are we? Are we making a mark? Nobody's going to bow down, and I don't mean bow down in a worship sense. I'm talking about bow down to us in a sense of how do we do that? Inquire. Search out. That kind of bowing down. How do they do that? So here we go. You ready? So we're going to raise our voices. This isn't the Church of Philadelphia, but the Church of Philadelphia knew how to make a mark because while they were small, they were bigger than all the rest. Because they were seen and they were heard and they were understood, and the Father knew exactly who they were, and He said, man, I'm telling you what, stay the course. I'm about to favor you because while you're little, you make a lot of noise. So here's my challenge to you. Make some noise. No. We are not a part of a secret society. We are not the Masons. Get